All right, all right. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to my channel. This is Ovalia Inspiración, and I am happy to be live again. And today we have a very special guest, and I'm very excited to hear the story that we're gonna hear. Unfortunately, her husband could not make it, last minute plans or something along the way. But we have Brandon Rodriguez up in here. What's up, Brandon?
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Of course, of course. So, I learned, how we say we learn something new every day?
Yes.
When I saw your name, I'm like, interesting. I never knew your name was unisex.
Yes. Very much so. Thanks, Mom.
You're the first female that I know, well, I met or whatever with that name, but with a Y, which makes more sense. Awesome.
Yeah, so the story is 1983. The sonogram said that I was a boy 3 times. I showed up a female. I was Brandon Cole and ended up being Brandon Michelle. Thankfully, my dad was like, at least drop the O and add a Y. My mom was like, no, it's supposed to be a boy. It's going to be Brandon. I don't care if it's a girl or not. And so thankfully, my dad convinced her to drop the O and add a Y.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I have the fortunate of being Brandon all my life. But I go by Brandy, but legally it's Brandon, but it's all good.
Interesting. Wow. How did that work that they thought or whatever it was a boy, but all of a sudden it wasn't?
Yeah, I don't know if technology in 1983 was, sonograms weren't really that great, but she swears up and down 3 times it said a boy, and I showed up in Houston, Texas as a girl, and I'm full female. But yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah, so that's my story. It sucks always the first day of school, Brandon, I'm here. No, Brandon, I'm here. And then.
Oh no, she froze. Oh man. Why we gotta freeze now? Hopefully she comes back. Hopefully it works. It ain't gonna end this way.
Am I freezing up?
Okay, you're back. Hold on. You're like freezing on. I think you're still frozen.
I hear you.
All right. I hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Okay. I hear you, but you're frozen though.
I'm frozen.
Yes. You're like a picture frozen.
Gotta love technology. Oh, hold on.
I know. Okay, the screen is black now. So
I'm gonna go off Wi-Fi.
All right. Oh, it went black again.
Hold on, maybe I'm reconnecting. Sorry to everyone that's out there watching.
All right, now? I think now I see you. You're back.
Okay.
You're back to me. Trust me, that happened to me one time, and that actually happened with somebody I interviewed last year. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the interview, when I heard it on my own, it was staticky, but I wasn't hearing that during the interview. So I was so mad, I had to delete the whole thing.
Oh no. Well, hopefully we don't have any more issues, but
I know. But anyways, we're gonna get into it, to save time and hopefully no other issues come. But I don't know how I found you. I don't know how. You just probably appeared through random posts about financial journey and debt-free journey and whatnot. But we are, as my audience, we're very curious to know how the heck did you and your husband pay off $159,000 in 59 months?
Yeah, 59 months, $137,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 137. It was a lot of hard work, teamwork. We had to do this thing together and compromise and side hustle and all kinds of things. So yeah, it was a long journey. It was worth it in the end, but it was, having to come together, make a plan, and get after it. So the things, doing side hustles and waiting tables and doing the kind of things that we were doing in our 30s, I would have never thought we would have been doing. We're like, hey, We had our
Wow.
careers, we had our kids, life was fine, but we were in
Mm-hmm.
debt and I was sick and tired of debt. So I was like, okay, well, what can we do to pay off this debt?
Mm-hmm.
So if that involves getting a part-time job, then I guess that's what it's going to do. And so that's what we did. But yeah, after 59 months, finally, we're able to hit submit on my last student loan last September. So yay, I'm glad to be done with student loan payments and car payments and all that kind of good stuff. Well, not kind of good stuff. They weren't good. They were bad. But anyways.
Wow. 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 But we're gonna get into more of that because that's incredible. I know for some people they'll be like, I can never do that. That's impossible. That's this and that. Like, the excuses come and they come out of fear. They come out of because they were never taught, they were taught a certain way and whatnot. But before we even get in there, I want you to tell us who you are. Introduce your husband too. I know he's not here, but tell us where you guys are from. Where'd you go to school? I know you got what, 2 kids, 3 kids, something like that.
Yeah,
Two
two
kids.
kids, two
Okay.
daughters. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool. But yes, let us know who you are.
Yeah. What's up, guys? I am Brandon Rodriguez. I am in San Antonio, Texas, born and raised. Born in Houston, but my parents just happened to be in Houston when I came along, but I lived in San Antonio all my life. I'm married to my wonderful husband, DJ Rodriguez. We met in college here in San Antonio at a junior college, a community college. We have 2 daughters, a 16-year-old and a 6-year-old. So pray for us. Girl mom and girl dad over here. Teenagers is fun, and 6-year-olds who think that they run the house and we just pay the bills, and they're the ones in charge and we just follow their lead. So yeah, my husband and I have been married for 7 years.
Nice.
I think. We also have an interesting story on ourselves. I did just mention that we have a 16-year-old. So we were together in college for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We had our daughter, our oldest daughter at that time. We separated for 5 years, went about our own ways,
Wow.
needed to grow, mature, find who we were during that time frame. And then we came back 5 years later and we've been married for 7. So yeah, that's our story.
That's a
Cliff Notes
journey.
version.
That is
Yeah.
a journey.
Cliff
Wow.
Notes version, yeah.
Interesting. And I know he is, well, with the last name, he's most likely Latino. Where is his family from?
Yes. Yeah, he is Mexicano. His family's from San Antonio. They further generations back are from the Canary Islands, but he is my Mexican husband, as I call him. His name is DJ. Legally, it's Danny Joe, and I'm like, I'm not calling you Danny Joe. We'll stick with DJ. And most recently, I started calling him Danielle Jose, and his mom's like, "What?" And I'm like, Danielle Jose. I just like that better. So, yeah. So we have Blaxican daughters, our little Blaxican babies. But yeah,
That's
so multicultural over here. Yeah.
I would never. Now that you telling me where he's from, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, he is from the south side of San Antonio.
He looks more Caribbean.
Yeah. Well, when I met him, I thought he was Black and Puerto Rican, and I was totally
off. I thought he was Puerto Rican the whole time.
Yeah, I was totally off until I got to his house. Again, he's from the south side of San Antonio. I grew up on the northeast side. So when I went to his house for the very first time, I've never been on that side of San Antonio.
Wow.
And listening to his family talk and looking at pictures. I mean, we were talking for weeks. And I finally leaned in and I'm like, dude, are you Mexican? And he was like, yeah, what did you think I was? And I was like, I thought you were Black and Puerto Rican. Whoa.
Wow.
So definitely got my assumptions wrong.
Yeah, for sure. You see, I'm Dominican. I was born in New Jersey. My parents are from Dominican Republic. And my wife, who happens to be sharing the same island, is Haitian.
Really? Wow.
So we got
that's
the
where we
same
honeymooned
island.
at.
Yeah.
We went to the Dominican Republic for our honeymoon.
Yeah. Awesome. So talk to me more about this this debt-free journey. Were you guys, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys already, obviously you have an older daughter too. What struggles did you guys have? And my wife's saying hi in the chat. So what struggles did you guys go through, or what challenges, I should say, did you guys go through while having kids at that time, while paying off debt? Because, a lot of people, I don't have kids, so I don't know what that struggle is. And I don't think I'll ever have that struggle, God willing, because we'll be debt free, hopefully in 6 months, and we don't have any kids just yet, So we actually purposely planned it that way. Of course, God, can intervene and, change everything.
Absolutely.
But as
Mm-hmm.
of now, God has not intervened, and we don't have any kids yet, purposely, and we're almost debt free. So, talk to us. What are some of the challenges as a mom, wife in that journey?
For us, so we didn't face many challenges in regards to our debt-free journey, especially with our kids. Thankfully, one, we had family and friends who helped assist us, like when we were working those part-time jobs, to help us take care of our kids if needed, as well as, again, I just said my kids are 16 and 6, so my oldest was older to help out with the youngest one.
Mm-hmm.
So if I needed to go work a shift in the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon, and DJ was working somewhere too, she could watch her younger sister. And we just did a lot of compromise. I mean, there was things for us, we didn't want our kids to be impacted by our debt-free journey. And it wasn't like Sydney, our daughter, oldest, plays club volleyball. So it wasn't going to be, Sid, you can't play club volleyball this season because we really want to focus on debt. It was just like, okay, she's going to play club. This is what it's
Mm-hmm.
going to cost. That means we're not going to work on these certain weekends on our part-time because she would have a volleyball tournament. And meant
Yeah.
that, okay, we're not going to be able to pay, say, $2,500 this month towards our debt because we're going to be out of town 2 weekends out of the month. So we weren't going to have that extra income coming in. So it's like, okay, so we're going to pay volleyball, and maybe we're only making a $500 extra payment on a car note this month or whatever it may be. So thankfully, in regards to any challenges in those areas, we didn't really have that many just because of the age gap in our kids. Our family and
Mm-hmm.
friends were our rock to help us during our journey. And then because our daughter is older, she understood what was going on. We kept her in conversations, and she knew why mom and dad were working side hustles, and
Yeah.
she knew that we were budgeting. And again, we weren't going to take away from her experiences that
Mm-hmm.
that she was going through in life just because of the choices that we made when we were in our 20s and early
Definitely.
30s.
Definitely. That's awesome. And I'm happy that you guys made that choice. Especially, teaching your kids, about finances and whatnot. So what are like some of the things that I guess you guys teach your daughters or your oldest daughter when it comes to finances, to prepare better for her future, and when it comes to school or whatever it is that will happen in the near future. Because let's face it, not everybody is going to be a financial coach. Not everybody is going to be,
Mm.
all happy and passionate about finances, which I get it. Not everybody can anyway, because there's so many other things that God implements in our lives with passions and purposes and whatnot. But we cannot escape the topic of finances
Yeah.
because that's just how it is. Whether you're single, you're married, you work, you're going to school, like you cannot escape. So why not at least take a course on financial literacy or get some type of knowledge on finances so you can know what you're doing? So what are some things that you're teaching your daughters?
Yeah, we're just trying to teach them all the things that we didn't know growing up. For myself personally, I didn't have any financial literacy. I moved out at 18 years old,
Mm,
got my first apartment, and just signed a lease. Like, hey, I'm out. I have a job. I can pay this. Girl, you can't pay $515 rent plus your $275 car payment because you're
wow.
only making like $500 every 2 weeks. Like, how is this going to work? Like, what are you going to eat? How are you going to keep your lights on? And I struggled like as soon as I
Mm,
moved out, and it was this hot mess. I went in debt from day one when I moved out of my parents' house.
yeah.
So we're just trying to teach them things that we didn't have. From budgeting, she hears our budgeting conversations. She's in our
Hmm.
budgeting meetings. From her checking and savings account, and to live below your means. And her birthday was just recent, and she got a whole bunch of cash. And I'm like, okay, girlfriend, just because
Nice.
you have it doesn't mean you have to spend it either. Like,
Exactly.
don't eat up all your money. Like, okay, you went to Chick-fil-A, you went here and there. Like, you already blew $50 this week in eating out, City. Like, pay attention to what's going on. um, and just preparing her for like college. One of the
Hmm.
things that we personally said, we don't want our kids to have any student loans. So
Hmm.
we've made a commitment to, take care of their undergraduate. Hopefully they'll get academic scholarships and athletic scholarships, but
Hmm.
we'll help them with their undergrad. Now, if they want a master's, now that's totally on you. If you're going to go for
Yeah.
your master's, you're going to take care of that one. But we definitely want to help them when it comes to that. And I don't want to just hand it to her, right? I want, you're going to work for it, and, your grades need to be there. You need to make sure that if you are there an athletic scholarship, that you're taking care of business on the court and off the court,
Hmm.
and things like that. As well as even my youngest knows kind of like what's going on, and she has her envelopes for giving and
Nice.
spending and saving, so she know what's
Yeah.
going on. And I tithe at my church, so they both all are like knowing financial, what's happening, and how to be more conscious about financial decisions. Even
Mm-hmm.
so, my oldest, we were doing her school schedule for the next year. So she's like, okay, mom, I'm gonna take this my junior year and this my senior year. And I'm like, all right, make sure you take financial mathematics. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, what? And I'm like, I don't care. That's an elective course, and that's a course that you need, and you're gonna take it your senior year. And we went through, and it's, credit cards, student loans, car payments, like all the things that they should be teaching in high school.
Yeah.
That necessarily I didn't get when I was in high school. So she was like, okay, but you tell me all this stuff already. I'm like, yes, I know I'm telling you, but I want it ingrained in your mind. So when you're 18, 21,
Yep.
25, like, you can take care of business.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. That's good. Did you see the documentary, Borrowed Future?
I
On the
haven't seen
student?
it yet. No.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay.
Heard it's really, really
I will
good, but
not
I
mention
haven't seen
it.
it yet.
I won't mention anything, but you definitely need to see it.
Okay, cool. I will.
You
No, I
definitely.
haven't though.
It was so good yet heartbreaking at the same time.
Mm-mm.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
insane.
it's definitely really good. And speaking of student loans, my wife and I, we that's our last debt that we have.
Yay!
That's
It's
our
gonna feel
last.
so good when you hit
Yeah,
submit
like
and that thing says zero balance.
of course. Like last year, matter of fact, we started off our journey 3 years ago. This month will make 3 years marriage, and at the end of this month,
Mm-hmm.
and we started off our journey with hustling and becoming debt free and whatnot, and we had 67K in debt combined, and now
Mm-hmm.
we only have about $19,500 left to go.
Yay!
And the biggest booster for us, yes, my wife's saying can't wait to pay it off. the biggest
Yay!
the biggest booster for us was, fortunately for us, and I say it's very like mindful and sensitive because COVID, last year, for us, during COVID, it did very well for us. We paid off
I agree.
we paid off two credit cards. We paid off a car, my student loan. We paid off like $28,000 in debt last year.
Wow, that's amazing.
And the cars was the biggest thing for me because,
Mm-hmm.
like, as soon as that stimulus check came, that went straight to
Mm-hmm.
my debt.
Yes,
You know what
I
I'm
hear
saying?
you.
And our cars, we have two cars. We purchased two cars. Well, we financed two cars. At the same time of 2019, same day, both
Mm-hmm.
around 15K, and we paid off both cars. Within two
Mm-hmm.
cars, we paid it off in 2 years and 5 months.
That's
30K.
awesome.
The first car we
Wow.
paid it off. The first car we paid off in 1 year and 7 months, and then the second one we just paid off like 2 months ago. It took us 2 years and 5 months, but
That's
both
great.
15K. Like, and I'm thinking about it. Most people that pay off the car in America, it takes like 5 to 7 years, and we paid
That's
off
me.
30K
That's
in two and
awesome.
a
That's
half
great.
years.
I've paid off
And
two cars in so far that I've had, and they both were 5-year notes for me. They're paid
wow.
off. I have no intentions. Like my car, I'm gonna ride it to I can't ride it no more.
Mm-hmm.
Wheels fall off, everything. I have 236,000 miles on my car. It's a 2012, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm fine. But yeah, and I get what you said about the pandemic. It was very hard times for many, many people.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I used that time frame to like kick up my student loan payments. It kicked up, the last of those debts that we had, and that's how I was able to pay off my last student loans last year, just because of the no interest on that I was having. And I was like, everything I got, I'm sending it to these loans because I just want to be done. And I was really focused because I was like, oh, the repayment period's going to end September 2020, the first time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, go. And so I did it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, they extended it. But you know what? I don't care. They're done. They're behind me. And I'm glad that it says zero balance. And I
Yeah.
am done with Navy and Mohia.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, it is a great feeling. I'm not there yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
already right there around the
It's
corner.
going to be here before you know it. Yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So talk about your side hustle. What side hustles did you do? Because listen, nowadays we need side hustles. If we really want to make changes and really pay off debt and be serious, we need to do more than just having a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, which I don't plan to do long term, I do Uber and Lyft, right? That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of driving, a
Yep.
lot of gas and maintenance and whatnot. And, I've been doing it for almost a year and a half, and I do it 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, after my 9 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm. Dang.
You know what I'm saying? But it gives me an extra $12,000 a year.
That's great.
You know
And
what
it
I'm
makes a
saying?
difference.
It makes a
I mean,
difference.
it makes a difference and it
It makes a
helps
difference.
so much.
Yes.
I thought about Uber and Lyft when I first started, and I was like, okay, what kind of job can I do to bring in some extra cash? And I was like, well, do I want to do Uber and Lyft? And I was like, well, I don't like driving as much. And then my husband was like, well, I don't know if I want you to do it as a female. I'm like, okay, fine. That's okay. So anyway, so when I was looking around and just thinking about what kind of part-time job, side hustle I can get, I just remembered, I waited tables in high school, not high school, excuse me. I waited tables in college, and I was like, hey, my goal each week was to make $500. If I can make $500, that was $2,000 a month. That was the goal, right? To pay my bills and try to survive. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll wait tables again, right? And when I was in college, I was a Hooters girl, and so that's what paid my bills. And I'm like, well, I'm definitely can't be a Hooters girl in my 30s with 2 kids. And I was like, you can be, but I was not. Again, I left that after I graduated college. So I saw online that a Tex-Mex restaurant was hiring here in San Antonio. And I remember friends in high school worked there, and they would make, good money on the weekends. So I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna go there because I mean that restaurant's always packed and it's super busy. And I was like, if I can make again $110 a night, tip out the bartender, tip out the bus boys, and walk away with 100, I'm good. So I applied on a Wednesday. My husband thought I was crazy. He was like, you're not gonna wait tables. And I was like, I want a part-time job. Like, I'm done with debt. Like, I want to bring in more cash. Applied on a Wednesday, interviewed on Thursday, and by the following Thursday, I was in training. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. But again, I've had it up to here moment with debt. I was like, okay, yes, we have money. We can pay these minimum payments and we can pay our car. Like, the money was there, but I'm like, dude, like, we're paying out $2,000 a month in just debt payments, right? Not even our mortgage, just in debt payments. Like, if we can just get rid of that, we can do so many other things with $2,000. And so so I waited tables. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I was like, I'm gonna do it for 3 months and see what happens. And so I got my first side hustle at the waiting tables. So he was applying elsewhere, and he got hired at Home Depot. So I would work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He would work every day up throughout the entire week, whatever shift they gave them. But I told him, look, I'm only available Thursday through Sunday. I'll get off work at 4:45 on my main job, brush up the highway, and be at work by 5:15, 5:30, wait tables till about 10 o'clock, and then come home and do it all over the next day. Each week, again, that case, I was like, okay, if I'm be there 3-4 days, if I can make, 300, if I can walk away after tips for 300, I'm like 4 weeks a month, that's an extra $1,200 on top of my debt snowball for my main job, right? So I'm like, okay, we can make a difference. Did it for 3 months, and we knocked out like 5 debts, right? We're like, oh, okay, well, let's keep going and see, like, let's just go and see how far we can get before we're like exhausted and just can't do it anymore. Again, my daughter's playing club volleyball. Like, at this time, my youngest was like 1.5, almost 2. So it was just like, okay, how can we do this? So I would work Thursday night, DJ will be home with the girls. Friday night, friend will come over on Saturday to help with the girls. And it was literally just a tag team. Some days we were meeting each other on the side of the highway to like switch off kids to each other to go to the next location. And so we ended up doing it for almost 1 year. I did it for 11 months. And after 11 months, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm tired. I'm going to quit. I'm done. And so I did that, quit after 11 months, and then just kind of continued the journey until 2019. And then we picked up additional side hustles there. I can't see you, so I don't know if you're still here, but hey, everybody. So yeah, 2019, I started doing DoorDash in Favor, and I did that all the way through September 2020, where we finished with my last student loan last September.
What happened here? But my computer I didn't even touch the computer, and the thing just exit out on its own.
Oh wow! I was like, I don't see you, but I'll keep talking.
But at least it was still live, But your screen is black. Your screen is black.
My screen is black?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know why.
Guys, I don't know why this is happening. This is like the first time this happens, and it's annoying. My internet is fine, so we're gonna wait for her. I hope you guys are enjoying what she is saying and talking about her debt-free journey. So we'll just give it another minute or two. Hopefully, you should jump right back on. This happens live. This always gotta happen live, right? Shoot. But she'll be back. She'll be back. But yeah, guys, this is a serious journey. Just listening to her story, paying off what is it, $139,000 in debt, along with her husband in almost 5 years. It's a big deal. It's a big, big deal. And as I was mentioning, okay, I think she's coming back.
I was
All
like, I could
right.
see myself. I heard myself. I was like, oh, I'm black. I don't know why.
All right. Now you're back.
Okay. Sorry,
Let's
guys.
continue on.
Hmm.
But yeah, continue on.
Oh, so I don't know if everyone else heard me when I was talking, but I was just basically saying, 2016 is when I did the side hustle waiting tables. We started for
Hmm.
3 months. The goal was to do it for 3 months. We ended up doing it for 11 months. I was like, let's just keep going until we're like just completely exhausted and just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So we ended up going for 11 months. And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, this is crazy. But I got, we took care of like 7, 8 debts during that time frame.
Wow.
So then we, quit our side hustles. At that time, my husband was like working 3 because he had his main job. He was doing Home Depot and he was reffing YMCA basketball games on the weekends.
Oh, nice.
So he was like legit, like going like nonstop on top of what I was doing. So then we just went back to our normal lives and just used our normal
Hmm.
paychecks to pay off our debt. And then in 2019, I was just like, okay, I'm ready to be done. I paid off my first student loan, and
Nice.
I was like, okay, this is it. It was like the final countdown. Like we're on the last 4 or 5 student loans, and I was like, okay, I think I'm getting another side hustle. And he was like, what are you gonna do now? But then I wanted something that was more flexible, right? I was like, if I want to go to do the job, I can do it. I don't want people calling me and saying like, oh, you didn't show up or something like that, like in a restaurant. So I ended up doing Favor, which is a Texas-based delivery service, but it's like DoorDash and Uber Eats. But with Favor,
Mm-hmm.
you can deliver anything, like literally whatever you need a favor for, you can
Yeah.
deliver it. So I started with Favor, which was cool because I was like, okay, I can work, 2-hour shifts. My kids can come with me because the kids can be in the car while I run in and out picking up stuff. But then I got lazy with Favor because you have to call in the order. The customer goes through the app and says they want, a number 5, this and that, whatever, somewhere. I call it in, pick it up. And then I was like, well, DoorDash, you don't have to call it in. You just have
Mm.
to, pick it up and drop it off. So I was like,
Yeah.
I like DoorDash
Exactly.
better. So my husband started doing Favor as well. So we would, tag team. Some nights I would go with him. Some nights he would go with me. The kids would go with me. The kids would go with him. It would just be, it became like a game.
Mm-hmm.
So then eventually I just switched over to DoorDash because I got lazy and I'm like, I'm just going to do DoorDash. He did Favor and I'm like, cool. And I did DoorDash up to when it was like, all right, I'm done. And here's my last $1,200 payment to my student loan. And that was it. So I have no intentions of going back out to do DoorDash or wait tables again ever. Hopefully I don't have to. But those were the 2 side hustles that I did during my debt-free journey. So again, it was 59 months, almost 6 years. And out of
Mm-hmm.
that time frame, 2 years was doing side hustles. But
Yeah.
we did it until we got tired. And then if we needed a break or a rest, it was like, okay, I'm not going to do it this weekend. Like I just need
Mm-hmm.
to sit still.
Yeah.
So
For
that's
sure.
what worked for us. Again, I always tell people do what works for you and your
Mhm.
household and your family. Again, that like the DoorDash and Favor, it helped. It worked for us because it was family friendly. Our kids can
Yeah.
come with us. And again,
Got
because my kids are that age gap, I can leave my oldest in the car with my youngest as I
Mm-hmm.
run to someone's door to drop off
Yeah.
stuff. Or even have
Ah,
my oldest get out, like, hey, go drop this at this door, just knock and drop it. And I can respond in the app. Food is there.
yeah. That's awesome. That's really great. You guys hustled.
So
You guys
yeah.
hustled, and with kids in the midst of all of that, props to
Hmm.
you. Props to
Appreciate
you.
it.
So, did you guys follow the baby steps, or did you guys have a specific different plan, or?
We did. So we started with it, and then modified it as
Mhm.
things went on. So yeah, so I got introduced to Ramsey's Baby Steps in 2010 at my church. I took Financial Peace University. At that time, I was single, and Sydney was like 5 years old. So I, cut up my cards, followed the plan, and then life happened, right? So I'm like, no,
Mhm.
I'm gonna need my credit card. I need to swipe this. I didn't have an emergency fund saved up. So life happened. So, anyways, once we decided to go down this journey again, I was like, hey, I did Financial Peace, brought him up to speed on what that program was, and we started it and did our, baby step 2.
Mhm.
And then we just tweaked it as we went down the journey. There were certain things that my husband's like, well, I think we should really focus on this instead of that because we'll get
Mhm.
more bang of our buck if we pay off the car versus
Yeah.
this credit card. And I'm like, no, we have to follow the plan. And he was like, no, I think we can do this. So I always say our journey was compromise from the both of
Mhm.
us. We literally, made compromises for each other
Yeah.
during that journey. And so, yeah, so we went off this way sometimes and we came back this way.
Mhm.
But again, it worked for us and that's what we chose to do. And I will always, again, tell people do what works best for you,
Yeah.
whatever, plan, whether it's the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, like whatever plan works for you, whatever gives
Hmm.
you the momentum to pay off your debt and keep going and don't give up, work that plan.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, what can you tell us what opportunities, now that you guys are debt free, right? What opportunities or doors open that you guys had that you didn't have before when you were in debt? Because a lot of us, I mean, who doesn't like to travel? I mean, you just came back. Didn't you go somewhere? I don't know, but I know you probably go
Yeah, I was in
out and
Tennessee a couple of
yeah,
weeks
you went
ago.
to
Yeah.
Tennessee, right? And everybody loves to travel, right? But not everybody can. Or if many people do travel, it's they're doing it while they're in. Well, I'm not saying you can't travel while in debt, but they put themselves more in debt.
Hmm.
You
That was
know?
me. I always charged my credit cards
Yes.
to travel, and I would pay, my vacation would take 3 years to pay off because I put it on a credit card and was only making minimum payments. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So what opportunity and doors that you have open now compared to before?
I think so many have opened. I mean, so you started with traveling and vacation. So last December was our first like family vacation that
Hmm.
we didn't go in debt for. It was a Christmas present to our kids. We went up to Dallas to I can't think of the place. I want to say Great Wolf Lodge, but that is not the name of it. But anyways, we went to this really cool place in Dallas for Christmas after the holiday for our kids. And, we used our credit card because my husband's big about credit cards and reward points. So we used it, but it was like we paid it off when we got home.
Hmm.
So that was like our first like true vacation that we didn't go into debt for.
Hmm.
Planning for our future has like really increased as I'm learning more about investing outside of like workplace retirement. I didn't know anything about investing, and I was
Yeah.
of the mindset like I need a lot of money to invest, and I don't know about the stock market and all this kind of things, and so I can't invest because I don't know. Well,
Hmm.
that wasn't a very good mindset to have.
Yeah.
But as I'm learning more, especially through the debt free community and the fire community on Instagram and things like that, and being connected with other financial creators and content creators
Hmm.
online, I have been able to, we've been able to increase our giving through our financial future, our giving through supporting our community, all
Hmm.
kinds of things like that. So now it's like we opened up IRAs for ourselves. We have started contributing to our children's 529 accounts for years. For
Nice.
years, every year we would say, okay, with our income tax, we're going to open up, a college savings for Sydney from like the time she was born. Hello, she's 16, and we just opened it up like a couple of
Wow.
months ago. And I'm like, oh, come on, Brandon. Like we knew then, like, hey, we need to save for college, but at that time, it's like, well, my income tax came, I needed that because I needed to pay off my credit card, or I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go on vacation and use some of this and do this, just not making great financial decisions
Hmm.
in our 20s. But we've been able to do so many other things now, just because we don't have car payments and
Yeah.
student loan payments. And now it's like, okay, we bought a house during this time frame too, right? So it's
Mhm.
like we got married 2014, we had our youngest in 2015, we sold our house in 2016 and built a house in
Wow.
2016 and started working side hustles and started our debt-free journey. All of this has taken place in 18 months. Um, and so we got in our house and we bought new furniture and we paid, cash for all the furniture. So that was good when we started this journey. But there's things now that we're like, okay, we wanted to do
Hmm.
in the house that we put off. We're like, okay, we'll just put that off until after we're done with our debt. So it's like, okay, now we can do the extra things that we wanted to do in our house. I'm still trying to convince him to let me get a hot tub, but he hasn't. He hasn't approved that decision yet. But I'm like, compromise, DJ, compromise. Remember, he's like, no pool. The girls and I are like, pool. But we're like, okay, if we're gonna get a pool, one, we have to pay cash for it. And it's like, okay, maybe not a pool. But I'm like, can I at least get a hot tub? Like, we can pay cash for a hot tub. And you can get a basketball court, a hoop outside for you if you want. Basketball hoop, my hot tub.
Mhm.
Whatever.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. There is more open doors and opportunities when you are
Mm-hmm.
debt free, and traveling is probably one of the best and the biggest one for many
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yeah.
Because again, who doesn't want to travel? Who, it feels great. Like we're traveling to, we're going to. I mean, we're in debt still, but we're going to Atlanta in a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
uh, for a vacation because we both work for the school system, so we get,
Yep.
we pretty much get the days off and the weeks off
Yeah.
in
You
school.
got the
So
good schedule.
yeah, exactly. So we're going away for Atlanta, but we didn't have to get in debt for it. We paid everything cash from the hotel to the flight to the car rental. We're paying $0. Uh,
Yay.
and then we just booked another flight for next month because I want to go visit back home in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I only pay like I don't know, like $100 for round trip for both
Nice.
of them. You know what I'm saying? So it does feel great when you can pay things in cash and not
Hmm.
use, credit card when you don't have the money.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
is awesome. That is awesome. And I did see that you also help women when it comes to budgeting and paying off debt. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah. So when I started my Instagram page a couple of years ago, it was just I was a stalker, looking at everyone else's pages and how they kind of just funneled through on my personal page. So I decided to create, a separate page and start sharing my journey. And it was just like one for accountability, one to be encouraged by others and share my story. And then as I continue to share my story, you never know who you help, right? Like
Hmm.
that one person that's in the comments or that one person in the message, like, hey, seeing you do DoorDash and doing it with your kids, like that
Hmm.
motivated me to like, hey, I can do DoorDash too and help pay off
Yeah.
debt. So my Instagram page was just, empower other people, motivate them, encourage them, and see someone, like me, a mom, wife with kids. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm at the point where I felt like, well, I can help others. This page is, people that are coming to me through messages and saying I'm helping them. Like, okay, well, I can help others. So that's really, I have an Instagram page that, I'm sharing my story. I'm always there to help people with their budgeting, putting together their debt payment, repayment plan. So they can reach me on, Instagram messages, emails, or whatever. We have a debt tracker and a budget template that we share with those that are interested. And so I'm really just trying to help moms, wives, anyone
Hmm.
really. I say I help I
Yeah.
help women, but I help anyone who's interested in paying off their debt, just because I was of the mindset that, I will always have debt. I'm always going to have student loan payments. I'm always going to have car payments. And like going through this journey and seeing like, you can do it, like you can actually pay it off. It's like, hey guys, like drop that mindset. If you have that mindset, like you can pay it off. Yes, it's like $25,000 or it's $50,000. It's 100 something $1,000, which is a lot of money. But if you work on a plan and you like go for it, you can do it. And so I just really want to help others, find that plan to pay off their debt, because again, once your debt's gone, there's so many doors and opportunities are available for you.
Yeah.
And we all work hard for our money. It'll be nice to, keep our money like for ourselves, or,
Hmm.
do something for our house or go on vacation or invest for the future or whatever you want to do. You work hard for your money. Let's keep it and stop having to give it to Navient and credit card after credit card and car payment and financing and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So I have just one last question before we talk about family. And maybe you can help me understand this because again, I'm not a father yet, but I come across different conversations with different people and they always say something that I'm like, why do they think that or whatever? So I'll have conversations with different people about money and debt, then I'll mention, oh, my wife and I were planning to be debt free before having a child, or at least, trying right before, becoming debt free, like right close to it. And
Mm-hmm.
then they would say, yeah, because, once you have kids, you go right back in debt. And it's not one time, two times. It's like five times of different
Mm-mm.
people I've heard them say that, and I'm like, but why did it? In my mind, I'm like, why did it have to be like that though?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Elaborate why they have that. They think that once you have kids, because I know kids can be expensive. I mean, I don't like to see it. I don't like. It is true, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not. The problem is not the kid. The problem is just us with
Yeah.
our finances and money management. But why do they say that? Maybe you can help me out as a parent.
Yeah, I was like, I don't necessarily say that I don't feel like you would go in debt with kids. One, I would say, I think that it's awesome that y'all are a young couple, and you chose to, work off paying off your debt before you have kids. I think that's great. Um, and travel and do all that kind of stuff too before kids. I mean, yes, obviously when you have kids, the world changes just a little bit. But I think that's great that y'all are doing that and y'all made that decision. But I think, I mean, I don't personally think you go into debt with kids. I mean, obviously kids are expensive, and the number one cost when it comes to kids obviously is daycare. And but again, that's just up to the parents and how they want to handle that, right? Do you want your child to be in daycare? Is it, do you have the opportunity for one parent to stay at home? Do you have family that can help out with your child? It's just one of those kind of things. Yeah, like she said, mindset. um it's just one of those things. It's, when you choose to have kids, you choose to make that decision on how you're going to raise that kid. Where is that child gonna grow up? Where is that child gonna go to school? Is this those kind of things that you start thinking about when you have kids?
Mhm.
So I was like, I don't feel like I went in debt. I mean, if I went in debt for my children, it was Christmas time because I wanted to give them the world, right? I know for sure years ago, I went and opened up a Target credit card just so I can get
Mm.
Sydney an Xbox and get her all this stuff because I have to show her I love her so much by getting all this stuff for Christmas, and
Yeah.
which I didn't need to. And it took me years. That Target credit card, that Xbox, I paid off when we started this journey. And that
Wow.
was at least 3 or 4 years later when I had first
Yeah.
opened up that credit card.
But I
Thankfully,
bet they didn't tell you it was 28% interest rate, right?
yes, right? So I was like, bruh. And when I paid it off, don't use Target credit cards anymore. I'm like, if I'm going in there, I'm using my debit card or credit card and pay it off when I get home.
Wow.
So I will say I went into debt for Christmas with my children, years ago, but now that's not the case. But yeah, childcare is expensive. I mean, my oldest grew up in daycare. When we first started, I was in college, so she would go part-time. At first, the first 18 months, she stayed home with me. Then at 18 months, she went part-time 2 days a week, just so she could have interaction with other kids because she was at home with mom all day. And then she went full-time once I graduated college and got a full-time job. And that's how it went for her. My youngest, I wasn't ready for her to go to daycare, but I also knew I was like, I have to go to work. I can't stay home.
Yeah.
But thankfully, again, we had family friends, and a family friend was like, okay, well, I'll watch her for the first year. And she did. And then that first year came around and she's like, well, I'm not ready for her to go. And I'm like, oh, well, we don't want to go either. Okay, we'll watch her till she's 2. She ended up watching her until she was 5, until she went to pre-K. And even when she went to pre-K, Miss Mary was still there every day to pick Emmy up from pre-K, and she would go to her house afterwards until we got done with work. So we were fortunate in that case with our youngest in childcare. So we weren't paying the full $1,200 a month for childcare at the locations that we wanted our child to go to, but it was just like, oh, thank you, no, we have Miss Mary, hallelujah. But yeah,
sure. But yeah, for that mindset, again, Katisha said it right. It's all mindset. So when people tell me that, I'm like, maybe you're the one that's gonna get in debt, not me. There's no way I'm gonna get in debt just because I have kids. Like, no, you're the one that is, the head, between you and your wife. You're the one that's taking care of the household. You know what to do and how to manage money, so you don't have to get in debt. You just use the money wisely, And I made a post the other day, and I think it's so true and I pretty much mentioned that for many people, a financial raise is not really what they need. What they really need is learn to manage their money well and live below their means and budget.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if you're poor with money and you got a financial raise, that's not going to change anything. You're still going to be poor with money. Many people think, oh, I got a financial raise. Now it's time. Now I'm going to spend more money. I'm like, no.
That was me. I did that for many, many years too. Many years.
You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a game changer. And again, this is not something. It's a light bulb that really has to turn on in our brains, because I didn't know financial literacy. I never grew up with financial literacy from my parents. I heard of Dave Ramsey back in 2012, but that was the time. That was the time that my father passed away. So, and I didn't have like support, and it was just a crisis. I didn't know better. You know what I'm saying? And plus issues with my mom my whole life, which is really the crux of all my financial bad habits, because I try to spend money on to heal my pain and bitterness that I had towards her, when Christ was really my healer, not spending money on to get things. You know what I'm saying? So that is awesome. Yeah. So let's switch it over to the family. Maybe I can blend it in with faith and family. I know you did mention about church and taking FPU, and my church also has FPU as well. But where I should ask, let's go with your husband. What is one thing that you admire about your husband throughout this journey, of finances, and as a family man, as a father, as a husband, and as a man of God?
Ooh, good question. I will say my husband has always put family first. Even when we were young and dumb in our early 20s, and when we separated, all that kind of things. His daughter, Sydney, was first. Like, always making sure that Sydney was taken care of. Now, with our 2 daughters and our marriage, it's always about the girls and making sure our family's taken care of, whether it's food, shelter, clothing, whether it's, them growing up in, a good community, the right schools, serving our community. One of the things that our family prides ourselves on is giving back to our community. So him and I are always, giving back, volunteering in our community. Our kids are always there with us, serving. I'm like, Sydney alone should get, into college just by her volunteer service hours, because she's been volunteering since she was an infant, as well as Emery. So I admire my husband just for the family man that he is, the man of God that he is. From praying for our children, praying for our marriage, praying for each other, and serving God with our whole hearts and our family. Right, we all serve to give back to others, because it's a blessing to be a blessing to others, and that's we choose to give of our time, our talent, and our treasure.
For sure, that's awesome too. And we need more. And I mean, we already know the generation that we live in. Fatherless. You know, deceased fathers, upbeat, what is it, deadbeat fathers and stuff like that all over. And especially, in the Black community, you know what I'm saying? Especially for young girls. And he is being that example. And not even just an example of a father, but as a example of a father, but as a Christian, you know, dad, a guy who loves God, a guy who, because he loves God, he's gonna love his family, he's gonna love people, and directing, your kids to the right path. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we can be debt free all we want. You know what I'm saying? We can know all about finances all we want, but if we don't have Christ, everything else is just not. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But because we have Christ, God also cares for everything else in our lives, holistically speaking, whether it be our finances, our mental health, our physical health, everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's great to have a godly man or godly husband in your life, for you, and not even just for you, it's for your girls,
Yeah.
for your kids. You know what I'm saying? I think, and I've heard this from, I don't know who was it, what pastor. He said, one of the greatest gifts that a husband can give to their kids is to love their wives or to love their mother. And that right there, I'm like, whoa, that's amazing, because you can give your kids all these different gifts and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, they're going to see how their father loved their mother. And then they're going to know what to look for or what to have later on as far as a guy in their life. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be, unstable. They're not going to be, going from here to there and finding the wrong person. And you know what I'm saying? They have that guidance, that perfect guidance that comes from the word of God.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, for the most part, most girls, right? We either want to marry someone that's like our dad, right? Or marry someone who's not like our dad. If if your dad wasn't that, kind of person. So it's funny to see some of the things that my husband does, and it's like, man, you kind of remind me of my daddy. So I'm like, did it go down that? I was like, I did kind of go down that route where I, married the hard worker, the family was first, God, like all of those kind of things. And DJ and I's story, I mean, we don't even have time for all of this, but our story is, again, unique. And a lot of people that are friends that are around us, there's like, wow, I can't believe, y'all end up getting married. Again, we were separated for 5 years and did our own thing. But during that time frame, we were still a family. Like, we went to Disney World and took our daughter Sydney at the time. And I know DJ was like, at some point, he was like, dude, I really don't want to do this because I don't like you, Brandy. And I'm like, I don't really like you either, but we're doing this. Like, we both come from divorced homes. And I was like, I didn't want my kid to grow up like that. And like, oh, you have to do this with mom, or you have to do this, dad, or we can't be together because we can't go somewhere as a family because we're not together. And so, all my best friends, they're like, wow, I can't believe y'all did these things. But look where we ended up at, right? And it's like, yeah, we traveled and did certain things. We were all, we coached our daughter when we were separated for sports and all kinds of things. And then we had our come to Jesus moment, right? It's like, okay,
Mhm.
here we are. What are we going to do with our lives? I love you. You love me. Okay, we've let this go kind of deal, but it was all God to bring us back together when we did come back together. And, we had a conversation in January of 2014. February of 2014, we were engaged. In September 2014, we were married. And it's like, okay, if we're doing this, we're going to do this the right way. Like, this is God. We're going to trust him and we're going to follow this path. And here we
Yeah,
are.
definitely. And God, see, even with all the mistakes in our lives, when you start doing the right thing, God honors that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what? There are marriages that thrive, even though they're not following Christ. But there's something different and special when a family is following Christ,
Mm-hmm.
and how God honors that and blesses that in a way that is so unique and that the world won't understand. And you know what? Many times we see marriages that are not, how should I say, marriages from people that are not in Christ, and you see that they're blessed, that they have home, they have this, and they have that, and you over here be like, damn, like, how come I don't have all of that?
Mm-hmm.
How come they have it better than this and that? Well, one, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, right? And
Mm-hmm.
two, they can have all those possessions. Listen, when you have Christ, you have it all.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you have
Amen.
a big home or whether you live in a smaller home, as long as you have Christ, you have it all. Everything else
I
can
agree.
vanish,
Yep.
and that's
I
okay.
agree.
You know what
I
I'm saying?
agree.
Because all those things, they don't define us. Those are just extra stuff that God gives us to bless us. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? That we can have fun, but that's not where true blessing comes from. But the fact that we can learn financial literacy, the fact that we can be financially free, we can be a blessing to others in many different ways, like you helping out other women or people in general to be debt free, coming up with a budget, being a godly mother, being an example to others who are even Christians, and they probably see from afar. They may not say nothing, but they see something in you that they wish to have. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's all God. It's none of us. Because if
Mm-hmm.
it was all of us, then Christ didn't have to come down on the cross to die for us. It's His righteousness imputed in our lives. That's why everything that we do, we must give glory to God,
Absolutely.
not us giving glory
Mm-hmm.
to ourselves. You know what I'm
I
saying?
could have made it through the journey without him. I mean, every day one is a journey, but definitely could
Yeah.
have made it through that debt free journey without him leading us, guiding us, giving us the strength to work the side hustles and to go throughout this process. So yeah, definitely give God all the glory in this in life in
Mhm.
general, my family bringing us where we are today, but particularly the debt free journey as well.
Of course, all grace. And the Bible does say that He sends rain to the just and the unjust. And that's called common grace. You know what I'm saying? But then He does have a special grace on His people, which the world will never understand unless they come to Christ as well. So that's awesome. I'm so happy that you have a husband in your life to lead you and your kids into the right direction. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, question: when it comes to your oldest, who does she cling to more?
Well, she looks exactly like her father.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she is Danielle Jose in girl form. She acts like me. She has my mannerisms, but
Mm.
she's definitely a daddy's girl. I
Okay.
was, yeah, she's daddy's girl all the way. I was very thankful when Emery came along because one, Emery looks like me. She's just bright skinned. And Emery's a mommy's girl. So I'm like, all right, you got your kid, I got my kid, and we're even. We're done.
That is so awesome. That's so awesome. Cool, cool. Um, when it comes to parenting, right? What is the most challenging thing to parent? Because your daughter. How old is your oldest?
16.
Teenager. Teenage years are no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Their hormones are all over the place.
Especially girls. That's how
Yeah,
I feel.
especially girls. The hormones all over the place. You got the boys. Oh, he's cute. He's this
Mm-hmm.
person, whatever the case may be. But then you got peer pressure, and then especially nowadays, with everything that's going on, and how liberal everything is going on, and how morality is just going straight to the floor. God is like nowhere, in a sense, meaning like people don't want to know about God, you know, like what role do you guys play in that, in her life, knowing that you guys had the truth, but your daughter is in the world where she's gonna be, and she's not, and that's a good thing that you don't put her in a bubble either. You do want to protect her from all these evil things, right? But at the same time, we don't want to put our children in a bubble, because once they go out in the world, they're not gonna know how to react. They're not
Yeah.
gonna know how to challenge other people, or when people challenge her beliefs, she's not gonna be able to know how to answer it. But how do you guys come in with that? Because it is tough. I mean, when I got saved, I was 18, but I was super on fire, like to the point where nobody can knock me down. You know what I'm saying? But it is hard. And I work with middle school and high school students all over South Florida. We focus on healthy relationships, making healthy decisions, and avoiding risky behaviors, especially sexual risky behaviors. But a lot of these kids, they struggle, and there are certain kids who they can kind of pick up, and they'll be like, "Are you Christian?" And yeah, and they are too, or at least
Mhm.
they know about the Christian faith and whatnot. But they're in the schools and they're seeing all these things. They're being challenged, but they're learning how to sanctify themselves and all that. So where do you guys play in that role as the challenge?
Um, so again, teenagers, girls, it's hard. And we try to just teach Sydney, the things that we did wrong growing up in school, right? Like, hey, don't do these certain things. Make sure that you're connected to the right people. And thankfully, Sydney has a really, really, really sweet heart. She's friends with everyone. And she also knows when she needs to pull away from someone if they're just not in the right path.
Yeah.
Um, Again, when DJ and I were separated, my dad was like, "You need to get back in church, daughter." And I was like, you graduated high school, and it was like you went to church, every blue
Mhm.
moon, or the C. I was a CME Christian Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter, popping on those 3 days kind of deal. And so my dad's like, "You need to go back to church." So when I started going back in 2010, Sydney was like 3, and so since then, her and I have been completely involved in ministry at our church,
Mhm.
from children's ministry to youth ministry for herself. And even now, as she's getting older, she's like, "Well, I don't want to go to youth on Saturday. I want to go, I'm going with my friends, my school friends here." That's fine, but you're going to go to youth ministry at 6, and then you can go to the
Mhm.
movies at 7:45 when you're done with youth. And so, she gets mad at me sometimes about that because she's like, "Oh, I don't want to go," or "My other friends at church aren't there anymore. I'm like,
Mhm.
"No, like I didn't grow up in church." And so I want my children to grow up and
Yeah.
have that relationship with God and learn from a young age to an
Mhm.
older age, to build on that relationship. And so again, we're just trying to teach her things that learn from our mistakes, and giving, opening up a little bit. She was late to get a cell phone
Mhm.
because I was like, "You don't need a cell phone. Like, you have an iPod. You can text us. You can call us from your iPod. You can text us from your iPad." Then, again, playing club volleyball. "Mom, I'm the only person on the team that doesn't have a cell phone." I'm like, so finally, I think she was 13, 13 or
Mhm.
14 when she got her first cell phone. Last year, we started with social media. She's been begging, begging, begging. I was like, "Fine, you can get an Instagram account." I created it on my phone, and so I had complete access to her Instagram account. And so when someone sends her a text message on Instagram, and they're cussing or saying something, I'm like, "Hey, tell your friend to watch your mouth." And she's like, "Mom," and I'm like, "Hey, do you want me to go in on the message and tell them to watch their mouth?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh." And so, we're trying to give her, a little bit more leeway with certain
Yeah.
things. And I'm just like, "Hey, be careful. Everyone out there is not for you." Even with friends, she's going through some things with some friends right now. And, 5 weeks ago, that was like her best friend. And now things are going, I'm like, "Well, one, talk to her, let her know how you feel. Like, don't just blow her off."
Mhm.
Amy, give it to me. I'm like trying to get my youngest. I'm like, "Bring me a charger." Um, Talk to her, have those communications with your friends if you're going through things, and just don't completely blow off. And if they don't understand what you're going through, or how you were offended, then maybe they weren't your true friend, right?
Yeah.
And you'll learn that now versus learn it later. I mean, there's many people that I don't talk to from high school that, oh, like,
Mhm.
yeah, we were friends, but no, we weren't. And I have my core group of friends that I still talk to or see on Facebook or whatnot. So we're just trying to prepare her for the world that's out there. And just try to make sure that that we raise her to be a good Christian girl. And then also we don't want her to go buck wild either, right? Like when you're 18 and you grew up in the church, it's like, I'm out. Like, don't lose your mind in that case either. Like, make smart decisions. She has older cousins that are my nieces and my nephews that are there that she can talk to too, right? So if she doesn't want to talk to us about certain things, she can reach out to my niece or my nephew who are 21 and 25, and she can talk to them. And they were just there a couple years ago in high school and went through those kind of things, and they were student athletes as well. So I just hope that she grows up to be a smart, loving woman that I know she is and will continue to be.
Amen. Amen. It's crazy that you mentioned about social media. As you already know, I said I worked with youth, from 6th grade all the way to high school, 12th graders, and social media. And I had this conversation with my wife, and we're like, at what age, at what age are we gonna let our kids have, such and such? And of course, we don't have kids yet, but it's good to start having those conversations, because and whatever, I don't know what technology is gonna be out by then. We're gonna have robots later on.
I know, right? Exactly.
But speaking of social media, like I have TikTok, right? But my TikTok is very intentional. My TikTok, I don't just post crazy videos, 10 seconds and stupidity, and then it'll get like 500,000 likes, which I don't understand. My videos are mostly, about Christ and, scriptures and whatnot. But I look at the people, well, not everybody has pictures in their account, but mostly all the people that likes my videos, I can tell that these are kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
I'm like, where are the parents? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are 2nd graders that have TikTok.
Wow.
Like, why? You know what I'm saying? My 5th graders, I remember the school I used to work at, all the 5th graders, they all had Instagram. They all had, TikTok. I'm like, that is insane. They know all the music from freaking Cardi B and City Girls and all the lyrics. I'm like, dang.
I tell Sydney I tell that to Sydney. She can spit out some words to a song, and then history, get a 72 on a test. And I'm like, Sydney, history is just remembering that you remember words to songs all the time. What's different? I'm not good with remembering dates. Girl, you better start remembering dates or you're not gonna have your cell phone anymore. But yeah, she can spit out songs all the time. But yeah, social media, I mean, it's a whole new ball game. And we didn't have this growing up. I mean, I'm 38 years old. I mean, I didn't get a cell phone to my senior year in high school. And at that, it was my mom's phone. I would just take it with me when I would leave. I didn't have my own cell phone. I bought my own cell phone once I was in college. But yeah, social media is a whole new ballgame. And this week, she's been asking for Snapchat. And I'm like, no. And she's getting the whole volleyball team, please, Mr. Rodriguez, please. Like, they literally were trying to convince us the other night. And it was Sydney and another girl that were the last 2 that didn't have Snapchat. The other parent let the other girl finally get it. So Sydney's like, Mom, I'm literally the last person. Well, you're going to be the last person for now. Because I'm like, no, I'm not ready for Snapchat for you. I just think, there's not always good stuff out there on social media. And
definitely. I mean, again, social media is not inherently evil, but you can use it for 2 different ways.
Yes.
You can use it.
I think there's power in good in social media, and there's power in negativity in social media. So, yeah.
And even with the good, and I'm putting myself out there because I'm guilty of it, but even with the good, we still need to be careful because we can be addicted.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We could be on it all the time, and we got our dopamine levels, rise. We see all these likes and comments and whatnot, and I know how it feels, but it can get crazy. It can get crazy, especially on TikTok.
Yes. Go down a rabbit hole real quick.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So as we wrap it up, this was dope. I definitely enjoyed hearing your story, which puts more perspective and it motivates me more, to wrap up my last 6 to 7 months.
You got this.
You know what I'm saying? I just can't wait. I'm like, I'm like never going back. No more.
That's how I feel.
I work too hard. I work too hard to go back. I spent too much gas money and car maintenance for a year and a half and miles for me to go back.
Yes.
Heck no.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, nope, never again in life. No, I'm good. But yeah,
Exactly.
only
Exactly.
debt I'll carry is my mortgage note. Hopefully,
Exactly.
that's the only plan. I mean, my next
Yeah.
car, I plan to buy in cash, and
Hmm.
when I think about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. Like, depending what kind of car I want, and I'm
Yeah.
like, but it's like, hey, Brandy, you can do it. You paid off $137,000. You can save up 20,000,
Exactly.
25,000, whatever to
Yeah.
whatever kind of car you want, and pay for it in cash. I can be
Exactly.
weird that way and do it. Just
Yeah.
gotta.
And I always tell people when it comes to the mortgage, like, of course, not many people has $300,000 to drop.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For a house. We're not Jeff Bezos or or Dave Ramsey or whatever the case may be. And I tell people, listen, it's okay to rent for the moment.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I have a video on that. I made it, pros and cons on renting, on owning a home, and is it really throwing money away to rent? Not necessarily, because a lot of people can be house poor.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not ready to buy a house, don't buy a house. Because I mean, I know what it is. I obviously I live in an apartment. I never owned a house, but I lived in a house for 30 years.
Hmm.
And I know pretty much what it is that needs to be done, and the the issues, if the roof needs to be fixed, this broke, whatever the case may be, and then on top of that having debt, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, the house may be beautiful, you finally own it, but you got a whole nother responsibility now.
Hmm.
And it's not
Sure
easy. So I
do.
tell people, listen, if you need to rent just to, you know, for the moment, so you can be ready whenever you're ready to buy a home, then do it. You know what I mean? My wife and I, we've been renting for 2 years already. We First of all, we can't afford to buy a house right now,
Mhm.
and in Miami.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And in Miami, so we're taking our time. That's why financial literacy is important. We're learning to live below our means. We're not moving somewhere in an apartment where we're paying so much rent. There's no point, because if we pay so much rent, then you're just delaying yourself from buying a house in the future, in the time that you want it to be. Because right now we're paying like 1,300. I ain't gonna go to another place that pays 1,800 because it has extra amenities. For what? It's rent. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I'd rather pay something cheaper,
Hmm.
so that when we're debt free, we can save that extra $500
Yeah.
for the house or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So yes, that is very important. And mortgage, nothing wrong to have a mortgage,
Nope.
as long as we know what we're doing with our finances and not getting in debt for stupid stuff,
Hmm.
consumerism and all that kind of stuff. So with this last thing, Brandon, can you share or give us like a word of advice for or encouragement for everybody that's in that debt-free journey right now, especially with the hardship in the pandemic? Because we are still in the pandemic.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people lost their jobs, family members. They went from full time to part time to per diem to no job. You know, and those that really want to get out of debt, but they're struggling or they feel hopeless. So, what is some words that you would like to share?
A few things. If you're on your debt free journey and maybe that you're struggling, don't have enough income or whatever it may be, make sure you're taking care of the four walls across your house, in your house, right? Make sure the necessities um, are taken care of, and slowly work on that journey. You don't have, it's not a marathon, it's not a sprint, excuse me, it's a marathon. This journey is going to take a while. So get after it if you can, get that plan together and get after it. Go, 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 go. But if you're tired and it's just too much, make sure you rest, because again, this is a marathon. Like, take the
Mhm.
breaks where needed. Um, don't make a payment for a month if you just need to slow down, rest, reset, and focus on something. Go after whatever plan you decide to go on. Like,
Mhm.
go after that debt that you really want to get rid of, whether that's that student loan, car payment, or a credit card. Again, my first credit card that I paid off when I finally became credit card debt free. Again, I was in my 30s. I had always had credit card debt until 2 years ago. So a credit card is what's bothering you that you need to get rid of. Focus on that. So I would just say, go, like you can do it. Like again, no matter what that dollar amount is that you're focused on, like you can do it and just keep going. But if it's too much and you need to take a break, take that break. It's okay if you need to rest, reset, and refocus. We did that the entire time. And go after whatever plan that works best for you. Do that plan. My plan may not work best for you, your plan may not work best for other people, but whatever plan works best for you, get after that one. And get it done, because it can be done. You don't have to be in debt all your life. You can pay off student loans and car payments and credit cards and medical bills and all the other stuff. So
Amen. That is awesome. Where can we find you?
you can find me on Instagram. I am Brandon Rodriguez at debt_free_2020. I'm also online at my blog, which is positivelyb.com, which is back there behind me too. Positively B.
Okay,
Yeah, Positively B is the blog. I didn't do as much as I wanted to do this year on the blog, but I am trying to focus on that. So I will try to get out more information. But the blog is focusing on faith, family, and finances, which is the same thing as my Instagram account. But I'm here just to help you, encourage you, inspire you, and motivate you to live the debt-free life that you deserve on your own terms.
Awesome. I'll be posting that in the description box, so when people go and find it, they can see your stuff and be motivated as well.
Yeah.
So but you will be updated. You will know when we become debt free.
Yes, I can't wait.
You will also see us in Tennessee on the debt free stage. So we will be out there in Tennessee, God willing, doing sharing a testimony, and and yes, it's beautiful to go. And nobody has to do it, but it is a thrill. I'm like, yes, I want to go over there and meet Dave Ramsey or meet the whole team and be on the stage. But it's more than that. There's a way bigger picture than just being on that stage. Mm-hmm. It's letting people know that if we can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So awesome. Well, Brandon, it was a pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep motivating other people. I'll direct other people to your way as well. I'll be posting my stuff as well too. So with that being said, we'll end it here. And God bless
thank you again. God bless you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. You have a great weekend.
All right. Take care. All right, guys.
Bye.
Peace.